taking me away for our anniversary.
That's great.
If you didn't have to behave right now, what would you do?
Sorry, I just feel like you're playing games and I'm done with it.
And Jacob seemed friendly. Is it bothering you?
You're back.
The Couple Next Door Season 2 introduces a new cast and storyline centering on Charlotte and Jacob, a high-flying couple who works as a heart surgeon. Their lives are disturbed by the arrival of a mysterious new colleague, Mia, who rents the house next door and works her way into their personal and professional lives. So this right here is Mia. Mia is the new neighbor next door that also has her own dark secrets and past that she is running away from. She quickly, built herself into the hospital and, basically started to create her own image. We have Charlotte. Charlotte, she is, like I said, a surgeon, very, very respected surgeon. She does everything in order to protect her image as a professional. She doesn't go out. She just work home, work home. So she's basically very strict with herself and with her career as well. So basically, Charlotte and Jacob are in established medical power couple, like I already said. They have been married for over 20 years, but their marriage is going through a very difficult stage. Like they are trying to rekindle and rebuild that fire that they once upon had. Because, like I said, they had been together for 20 years, and we all know in 20 years, sometimes, somehow, things in the marriage can get complicated, and they both work together, they live together, so it's a whole lot that goes on. So when Mia is introduced, it's like a breath of new air, but also confusion to the couple. Because first and foremost, when Mia arrived at the hospital and Charlotte and Mia were introduced to one another, you can see that right from the start that there was some type of an attraction towards the two. But in this case, Charlotte always made it very sure to Mia to keep it professional and not to let things, escalate. Because, like I said, she takes her career and her working environment very serious. So since Mia is new to town, she needed a place to live at, and Charlotte basically had a conversation, with someone else that also works at the hospital, and said that there was this apartment that is available to rent. And obviously, she didn't know that Mia actually had the financial income to afford, that neighborhood. But when she actually ends up finding out, in this case, Charlotte ends up finding out that Mia moved in, she was surprised because she didn't know how, Mia could actually even afford being in that neighbor, especially for her being a nurse. But later on, we can see that the reason why Mia could move in, and afford that house is because, when she ran away from her past, she ran away with a lot of money. So that's how she could afford that type of lifestyle. So now you can see that Mia starts slowly but surely getting close to the couple with intentions to get close to Charlotte. But she knew that in order to get close to Charlotte, she needs to get close to Charlotte's husband first. So this is exactly what happened. Like she started to seduce him, and he also was at the beginning like playing tough. I don't want it. But later on, you can see that, him, in this case, Mia and Charlotte's husband actually ends up getting involved in on an intimate level. Then he actually ends up keeping this a secret from Charlotte until, in this case, you can see that Charlotte and her husband, they decide to go away on a vacation, to celebrate their anniversary. And, Mia was planting her seeds here and there to get the couple's attention. And that is exactly where things took a very, very, very big turn. So while they were away on this, anniversary trip, you can see that Mia actually also ends up somehow self-inviting herself to the trip without them knowing that she was there. So when, they were doing their 1-2-1-2, you can see that they actually end up having a three-way, intimate moment between Charlotte, Mia, and her husband. But after they had that intimate moment, all three together, things just, went from 0 to 100 real quick, because now feelings starts to get involved. You can see that Charlotte, she doesn't regret doing it, but it's something that she feels bad for doing it, especially knowing that she is Mia's boss. So she started to kick, to build this thing like, okay, it's enough. We cannot go further from here. It happened. I don't regret it, but it's not happening again. But obviously, Mia already had her eye on Charlotte and she wanted Charlotte. So later on, you can see that slowly but surely, in this case, Charlotte's husband started to play a bigger role in the picture, because he actually started to slowly incriminate, Mia in her profession as a nurse, and people started passing away. And, some way, somehow, Mia actually ends up getting blamed for it, because she's the newcomer and these people passed away while they were under her care. But obviously, later on, as the series ends, you can see that there was actually revealed that, Charlotte's husband was the one that was in like basically setting her up for failure. Because later on, before that whole situation happened, you can actually see that, Mia and Charlotte, they had a moment together where Mia actually confesses her feelings to Charlotte, and Charlotte didn't want to, intake that moment because she felt guilty for her being married. But the way that this led up to is to knowing that if they wouldn't have spent this moment together, Charlotte could have believed that Mia was, in this case, the person that was blamed for the crimes that her husband had set Mia up for. So her realizing that, hey, it couldn't be, Mia that did this, because the time all of this a specific event happened, she was with me, and this when she confronted her husband, and her husband didn't have no choice but to tell the truth. So later on, you can see that, it was a very, very complex situation, because now Charlotte, and her husband, they're going through an argument. Mia, she was suspended from work because of the situation. Mia's ex also came back in the picture because he wants the money. Mia says she doesn't have the money, so there's just a whole lot going on in both personal lives. But later on, more of the story, to make a long story short, you can see that in this case, Charlotte's husband finally went to prison for all the crimes that he committed, and also for trying to hurt her by the end. And later on, Mia, she went to basically help in this case Charlotte. She was hospitalized. She was there for her through her whole recovery process. And when her recovery process ended, Mia parted ways, and she actually ends up sending like a postcard telling Charlotte like, "Hey, I had to go, but if you want to see me again, if you want to rekindle things again, you know where to find me." So basically, that is leaving the doors open. And obviously, Charlotte, she also brought her father back to live with her, because one of the reasons why she had sent her father away was because, her husband also wanted her father to be away, because they have busy schedules and both of them will not be able to take care of him. So there was a whole lot that goes on. More of the story is a married couple that gets involved with the neighbor that also works with them in the hospital. Things get complicated. And also, you can see that the husband starts to get jealous because he sees that Mia, in this case, wants Charlotte. And Charlotte also started to feel this attraction towards Mia, because she actually confessed to her husband that she has a crush on Mia. They end up having this three-way situation that does go left very, very quick. And then the two women starts to get way closer to one another, because Mia just brought out a very different side of Charlotte that she didn't know still existed in her, because she just was, a breath of fresh air, and she was very intense, she was very persistent, she was very caring, and she wasn't like just, she was doing things so calculated that you can see on why, Charlotte actually ends up falling for her, because she was just doing things so calculated. So yes, that is the story. If you guys want to watch it, I will highly recommend watching season 2. This one is very, 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 very well known. It actually came out season 2, if I'm not mistaken, in July of this year. I just got, into it. I just found out about it recently. So, I had to take my time to go watch, go support, and to see what it's actually about. And to be honest, is worth it. To be honest, in my personal opinion, I will definitely rate it a strong, strong, strong 7.5 out of a 10, for the fact that the two women, they ended up going separate ways, but they kind of still left the door open for a possible rekindlement between the two. So yes, guys, that's basically it. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Until the next video, and goodbye.